Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session of the Conference for the Professional School Counselors of Color. My name is Ashley Hill, and I'm so excited to be presenting this great information to you. So let's get started. All right, so we are talking about college funding resources for school counselors pursuing graduate education. That's right. If you are pursuing a master's or doctoral degree, this information is for you. Again, welcome to today's session. My name is Ashley Hill. I am a scholarship search strategist. That means that I love working with students and their families and professionals such as yourselves, and I love teaching students and the support team around them, which includes their families and you, is how to find the best fit scholarships with ease so that your students can graduate without debt. And I've now put that into an online platform called the Scholarship Success School. So I am the creator of Scholarship Success School, and that's why I again provide that service to students, their families, and professionals such as yourself. All right, so here are the outcomes. Number one, attendees will learn how to find graduate scholarships using the scholarship search resume method. And then secondly, is attendees will learn about 5 resources to secure funding for graduate school. So let's get into the challenges with finding the right scholarships. So we're going to dig into each of these 4 items, and we're going to talk about, why there's such a challenge. And throughout this presentation, we're going to be talking about getting over this, getting past these roadblocks. So first of all is mindset. No doubt you are a busy professional. You have a lot of things on your plate. And so even in the midst of that is that you have to take out the time to develop the right perspective, the right mindset. For example, you may not think that there are not any scholarships for you. And I can tell you this is year 10 of doing this work, is that there are scholarships for you to pay for your degree. They are out there. There are some things that you have to do to secure them, but the funding is there. So that's one thing. Not understanding how the scholarship application, how that journey works for graduate students. There's some differences, but it's really along the same lines as with somebody going into an undergraduate degree program. And that is that there are scholarships literally due on an almost daily basis. Out of 365 days in the year, I can probably think of one day, maybe, and I'm thinking about Christmas probably, that there were not scholarships that were due. And so it's for you to take advantage of that scholarship. Another thing with mindset is you may think that, well, I don't really qualify. I haven't done a lot. I'm not leading something. Maybe you've heard that you've got to be a certain GPA and certain things like that. And now for the GPA, that very well could be true, but you don't count yourself out. You may think that you don't qualify for scholarships. And so I want to encourage you that you don't count yourself out. I have not in 10 years come across one person that I did not see at least 1 to 5 scholarships for. So the funding is there. Secondly, is searching without a plan that works for you. You have to have your own plan. Why? Because if you search generally, you just throw up scholarships in Google, you're going to get back general results. And you simply don't have the time. And I'm sure you don't want to deal with the frustration and stress of that because you want to find the scholarships that fit you and preferably in an easy way. And so you have to have a plan in order for that to work. And not only just having a plan, it has to be your plan. This has to be personalized because you're focusing on finding the right fit scholarships for you. Not everybody else, but just you. And the next challenge is not searching consistently. And this is just, like I said, your schedules are busy. You may be juggling family and work responsibilities, other things going on. And so it's very easy to, hey, I got 15 minutes here. Let me go ahead and search. And then you're like, well, okay, then something happens, right? You get a phone call, you get an email from work, or maybe from home, something's going on, you get a text. You're like, oh, I'll get to it later. And then you don't get to it later for maybe another 2 or 3 weeks. And then you pick it back up again. So it's that start and stop process. But here's where it's quite unfortunate for you, because if you're doing that where you're not searching consistently, then the times when you're not searching is when those other deadlines are still passing and other people are still applying for those scholarships that very well could have been a great fit for you. And so that's a huge challenge. And then lack of time, that really ties into that. Yes, you're swamped. Yes, you're busy doing all the amazing things that you do at work and the other responsibilities that you have. But the solution is not to search at all. The solution is focusing on quality of time and not quantity of time. So what do I mean is the time you do have, even if you have 15 minutes a week, it's what are you doing in those 15 minutes to leverage that time? If all you literally have is 15 minutes, then that's what you have. So you can't change the quantity if that's what you have. But you can focus on the quality. What kind of things are you doing? Are you doing the right things? Are you searching where you should? First of all, have you created your own plan? So are you maximizing the time that you do have? And so in order to be successful in this process, you certainly have to do that. All right. Again, you need your own plan. And I like to call this a personalized scholarship search strategy. And so, quick background about me. I was a biology major, went into public health. I was a researcher for some years at corporate America. So I do like formulas, but this is a simple formula. I think you can commit this to memory. And that is, in order to get your strategy, you need a team and you need your personalized scholarship search resume. So let's talk about the team first. Let's talk about the team. Who should be a member of your scholarship search team? Well, first of all, it should be, and this is if you're a part of any industry associations. That's a great member of your team because they are a wealth of resources. If you have a mentor, if you have and you should, whoever your academic advisor is at your college, your other colleagues there in the program with you, obviously, financial aid, alumni. The alumni office could be a great resource for you. Your dean of your program, if you're working on a doctorate, then whoever the chair of your dissertation. So those individuals can be some great members of your scholarship search team, and I highly encourage you to reach out. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know that you're in the search for scholarships, and ask them to be a part of your resource team. I think it's important to be able to leverage the resources of others, and not just be not just be restricted to what because no one person knows everything. And so that's really important to keep that in mind, is you don't have to struggle in this by yourself. You can reach out for help. It's okay to ask for help. All right, so let's talk about this scholarship search resume. This is all a part of the plan. And so I like to give examples like this. So let's talk about and I use this example a lot. Let's talk about Michael Jordan, okay? So, and even if you're not into sports, I promise you this will make sense for you. So, Michael Jordan, obviously, like the greatest of all, according to some people, the GOAT, the greatest of all time in terms of basketball, professional basketball. But if you go and look him up online, if you go right now and go and research Michael Jordan, you go to NBA, I believe it's NBA.com, you'll be able to see how tall he is, weight, even during when he was a player. You'll be able to see how many championships he has, how many rebounds, how many block shots, how many assists, how many teams he played on. You'll be able to see all of that, interviews, everything. Those are what we would call his statistics. Those will be things about him. That would be his profile. And so what you're going to do is you need a profile. So what is the profile? What is this in terms of finding the right scholarships for you to pay for your graduate degree? It's like this. It's like you're going somewhere and You've never been to that destination before. So you're either going to pull out your GPS or you're going to use your phone, use the map, the Google Maps app. And so here's the thing, because you don't know how to get to that destination, you've never been there before, you are going to rely on either the Google Maps app or the GPS. And so that helps you, that provides the path for you. And as long as you follow that, you're going to get to your destination. And so the same thing is with this profile, we call it the Scholarship Search resume, is that if you follow this roadmap, this is your plan. It is going to lead you to being able to find the right scholarships for you. So what should go in your profile? Well, it should be a personal section. So like your gender, ethnicity, how tall you are, if you have any challenges, whether they are mental health challenges, whether they are mental or physical, if you were a military brat, just different things like that, things about you personally. Academics. So this is, of course, referring to your undergraduate degree and your master's if you're working on a doctorate. If you're just doing your master's, and of course, you would put in information for your undergraduate. And so this would be your GPAs, if you received any awards, if you were a part of any academic clubs, anything tied to that, any activities dealing with school, that would tie in there. Volunteer leadership experience. I want to talk about that extensively for just a moment. I know some of you may be thinking, well, here we go. This is where I have a struggle with. I'm not a leader. I hear that all the time. Ashley, I'm not a leader. And here's the thing. We have to really dig into that word, because a leader is not just a title. A leader is not just saying I'm the leader of something. A leader, to qualify for leadership, involves some type of action and mindset too. And so this is a great activity for you to do. I call it the leadership activity. First of all, it's for you to define leadership. And then secondly, is for you to do quick research. Won't take long. Research 3 to 5 qualities of a leader. Things like they take initiative, things like they solve problems, things like they work well in a team, things like that. And I want you to think about your future career and what you do now as a school counselor. I can't even imagine what your day-to-day schedule is with your students and with the staff. But what I'm pretty sure about is that you're solving problems, probably on a minute-to-minute basis. And you're doing research, and you're doing, practical things, working with your students and preparing different activities and different things for them as well to address certain issues. So you are a leader. You are a leader. You are solving problems for students and working with staff on a daily basis. That's leadership. And you may be leading in other ways outside of that. But I want you to begin to take note of your different experiences. If you have volunteered, that's something also that would also qualify under leadership experience. And then lastly is if you have any passions, any hobbies, any talents, any achievements. Maybe you're a great writer, maybe you're a great dancer, maybe you are a great cook, maybe you love to garden, just take note of that. And so here's the thing. These categories here, they represent types of scholarships. And there are many, many different types of scholarships. But this is to allow you to get a screenshot of what's available to you. And so it's so important that you take time. And it may take you doing it one time and then you step away when you come back, but make sure that you don't leave anything out. We want this to be as complete as possible. You don't want to leave anything out, because you want to make sure that you are, when we get to the next step, which is the searching, that you are maximizing. Because remember, I know you're short on time, and so we really have to maximize and leverage by making sure that we have all of the pertinent information, which is your Scholarship Search resume. And so if you think you may have left something off, ask one of your colleagues, your peers, maybe one of your friends, maybe a spouse, maybe a parent, someone like that can speak to your experiences, and let them take a glance at it just to make sure, that you haven't left anything off. And I want to touch on this. Going back to the leadership and volunteer experience, I want to talk about why it's so important to really make sure that category, that you've really filled out that section, because I can tell you this. This is 10 years for me in the industry of working with students and parents and professionals in terms of scholarships, but I also, being a former scholarship winner, and also I do judge scholarships. And I serve in that role sometimes. And I can tell you that judges, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for evidence of leadership abilities. They're looking for someone that is impacting their community or impacting lives now. Because if you're already impacting lives and impacting those in your community now, that scholarship is only going to help you further that with your degree. With your degree, you're going to be able to impact even more lives. And so that's the position of the judge. And so you want to make sure, again, that you have included that any of your experiences in that section, because number one, that's going to make for some great scholarship essays when you tell your story, but also it's going to help you to find a lot of scholarships as well. There's a lot of scholarships. They do require you to be able to speak to that, your experiences. And so I want to talk about, when it comes to searching for graduate scholarships, number one, and I mean number one, is you have to leverage your relationships. And I'm going to talk about LinkedIn extensively for just a moment. But I want to mention something and see if you caught it. We're just now talking about searching. The first step was not to search. I'm going to say that again. The first step was not to search. It was to get your plan. You need a roadmap. We know your destination is the right scholarships for you, but you need a plan to get there. You need a map to get there. And that's what that scholarship search resume is. And so what you're going to do when I go through these tips here, what you're going to do is you're going to take each response in your personal section, academic, volunteer, and leadership experience. You're going to take all of those sections, and that now becomes what you're searching for. Literally. So for example, you're getting your PhD in let's say psychology. I know a lot of you will not, but let's just say psychology. You may not. You now can put in Google scholarships for female students who are pursuing a doctorate in psychology living in Georgia. You see how specific that is? The more specific I'm able to search, the more specific the results will come back. That's going to help me to leverage my time. That's going to help me to maximize my time, because I'm not searching aimlessly. I'm not searching without a purpose. I know exactly what I'm looking for. So the results that come back will match that. And so you're literally going to go down. And this is why I said to make sure that you fill out each section completely, because each one of your responses represents scholarships. And so you're literally going to go down your scholarship search resume, your profile, and you're going to put that into Google and put a plus sign and put scholarships. So you live in Georgia, scholarships for doctoral students living in Georgia. Just like that. You're going to go through. If your hobby is painting, you're going to put that down. Scholarships for graduate students who like to paint. And you're going to put it in just like that. And so that is your roadmap. You now know what you're looking for. So now when you're searching for, let's say, those psychology scholarships, if nursing comes up, you don't even pay attention to that, because it doesn't fit you. It doesn't fit your profile. So you literally can filter out within seconds, because you know exactly what you're looking for. So now on to these two things here, is leveraging relationships. And I can speak to this when I was doing my master's. And I really learned this from undergrad, but I continued it in graduate school, is I developed relationships with the dean of my program, my academic advisor, financial aid office. I had even reached out in my local town. I even created an internship. I was doing a master's in public health. I reached out to a healthcare clinic, And I said, listen, I'm interested in doing this. I need to get some real world experience before I finish this degree program. What do you think about me? And at the time, they had a huge initiative working with patients with diabetes. And so I said, what about, can I organize some files for you? Or maybe can I, compile the data, and just report, of course, not seeing patient records, but just the numbers, the scores, the different markers and indicators that they were looking for. And they said, sure, okay, we'll do it. And, I was able to use that, and that helped me to even find even more scholarships because now I had some experiences and I wasn't getting paid. So this was a leadership opportunity for me, and so it's literally leveraging relationships and, it's taking advantage of people in your circle. And then you start reaching out to people in their network. And that's how it grows. I can't speak enough about connecting with people in your industry. And of course, whether it's through conferences, whether it's through simply an email, but leveraging those relationships. I cannot say that enough. And so I want to talk about LinkedIn. I hope you are on LinkedIn. And if you're not, I'm giving you a homework assignment. It's to create your LinkedIn profile, put your achievements, talents, everything, pull all of that. And make sure that you have it in your profile. I want you to join those industry groups inside of LinkedIn. Start talking, start connecting, and not every day, but it should be at least 3 times a week. Especially when you're looking for certain things. Because here's another thing: a lot of, and this is for graduate, for students, whether this is a master's or doctoral, a lot of times schools will receive grants, like extra grants from different organizations, and sometimes the government, where they're trying to fill admission seats for different types of students from different demographics. So it's important that you have your ear to what's going on, and seeing what schools are offering. And a lot of times they post things like that on LinkedIn. I've seen sometimes they post on Twitter, so it wouldn't hurt you to have a Twitter account as well. But definitely you can follow these companies. You can follow the different schools you're interested in. You can follow different companies and things like that on LinkedIn. And so I highly encourage you to make sure that you are taking advantage of LinkedIn. All right. So here's the thing. When you get to scholarship search websites, you want to look for these 3 things. The first thing you want to do is you want to go to the About Us page. And why? You want to see the history and the mission or the purpose of the organization. Why? Because I can tell you from the perspective of a scholarship judge, they want to see a connection. They're trying to figure out, why do you deserve this scholarship? Do you fit what we're looking for? Well, how do you know that? You go back to your scholarship search resume. And let me say this: every scholarship that you find and decide to focus on, to apply for, it should connect to something in your scholarship search resume. Truly, for it to be a fit, it has to fit something about you. So make sure of that. But when you go to the About Us page and you look at the history and you look at the mission, make sure that you connect, even if it's that you're passionate about what they're passionate about. So if they're passionate about children, you work with children, you're passionate about that, that's a connection. Maybe that the person, maybe who the scholarship is named after, maybe they have a health challenge, and you have the same health challenge. So just make sure that there's some type of connection. And remember this: it's your job to communicate that. Scholarship judges, they're not going to read into it. They're not going to read between the lines. They're going to read and review what they have. So make sure that you're communicating properly that piece of your story, the connection. Next is the eligibility requirements. You have to make sure that you're meeting all of the requirements, all of them. If one is missing, I highly encourage you to move on to the next scholarship. The next one is huge, and it's looking at previous winners or submissions. Again, not to copy, But you should be thinking of this mindset, and it's a mindset shift. Why did they win? Especially if their biography is there. You see the title of their essay, maybe the whole essay is there. It's something about them that connected to the organization. So, for example, if you see that the last three winners focused on psychology, child psychology, you better believe you have to tie that in there somewhere because it's a reason. If that's the connection, you have to fall in line with that. And so this acronym is really for you, but does it pass the fit test? Focus, that's the About Us page. Information, that's the eligibility requirements. And then lastly, does it match something from your resume, your Scholarship Search resume, whether that is your talents or even your achievements? Whether it's your talents or your achievements. And so I'm going to wrap up with this. And so I want to go over these top scholarship resources. Now, this is specific to you, school counseling. So teach.com is a wonderful resource. Those are a list of scholarships there. Best Value Schools. Now, let me talk about that. Best Value Schools is a website that's really geared towards helping you with figuring out degree programs, but they do share school counseling scholarships, which I think is awesome. The next website, it kind of says it in the name, Masters in School Counseling. So they do have some grants and scholarships there. Next is bestcounselingdegrees.net. They've got about a list of 50 there. Let me talk about that for a second. And I hope that you've picked up on this, is that when you're looking for scholarships, and it was able to it was easy for me to share these because of your profession. But if you notice, these last two have counseling in the name. Masters in School Counseling, Best Counseling Degrees. So be mindful of that when you're searching for scholarships. And then lastly, if you're familiar with Alfred Adler, the college up there in Chicago, of course, that is for psychology, counseling, and those different degree areas. I shared this link because it's very, very important. This is a link to the list of professional associations and organizations and industry associations in counseling and psychology. All of the specialties, marriage counseling, all of it is there. And so I want you to go to your section, and I want you to go to those websites, and I want you to look for scholarships in your area. Nothing beats going to a website that's specific for your industry and looking for scholarships there. And so I'm going to bring me back on for just a second. I have enjoyed sharing this information with you. I just want to encourage you again, do not give up. Do not take hold to the fact that, okay, I just can't possibly fit this into my schedule. I don't think I qualify anyway. I have shown you that there are scholarships out there for you. Yes, you have to do some work, of course, but you can do it. I believe in you. I know that you can do it. If you have any questions, you can email me at ashley@collegeprepready.com. Again, that is Ashley@collegeprepready.com. Take care.